Their son set themselves on fire. The other told me a story about a son that shot himself. They were both staggering, and they happened 24 hours apart from each other, and it was remarkable. Larry, Dr. Larry Miller, he's a emergency medicine physician, and it's his son that, if I may, let me just read from his Facebook, because this is amazing. His son is, just left a VA appointment. They're so nice. They prescribed me, I don't even know what this is, Seroquel. Wow, how nice. They didn't even listen to my story, just like a robot that hands out poison to every soldier. Anyway, Larry wrote on his Facebook on April 8th, "Today I heard the words no father can imagine. Your son Mark is dead. Yesterday, Mark texted me at 12:34 p.m. with the words, 'Papa, I love you very much, and I always will.' I texted him back, 'I love you too with all my heart.' I don't know if he read my reply or not, because minutes later, the taxi dropped him off at the VA hospital in San Antonio. Walking up to the door, he shot himself in the head. I only learned about his death this morning. My heart is broken. My soul is crushed. There are no words. Yet something has to be said. So, Dr. Larry Miller is on with us now. Larry, how are you?
Hello, Glenn. Thank you so much for having me. It's been tough, but, God is good, and we're moving on with Mark's mission. And so this is what's keeping me going right now.
So tell me who Mark was before all of this was happening.
I think every father is proud of their son. I was especially proud of Mark. He was a loving, kind young man. Everybody that met him said he was an unusually amazing guy. He loved God. He loved Jesus. He helped everybody he could. He enlisted in the Navy as a very young man, and he became a sniper in the Navy for many years. He was a sniper because he was a good shot. But, being a sniper, he had to do things that went against his personality, against his moral beliefs, against his ethics. But he did it because he wanted to
Fight for his country.
Help us. Yeah, help the country, absolutely. So he did it, and then as soon as he got out of the war zone, he said the war did not get out of him. He began to think of all these things. He became very depressed, and so he went to see the military psych doctors back in 2007, and they placed him on Prozac, which is an SSRI drug. And as soon as he started taking that Prozac, he became absolutely empowered and convicted to commit suicide. And so he went back to them and gave him more and more. And the more they gave him, the more he began to drink. And he planned his suicide attempt at that time.
Jeez.
It was a miracle that we actually caught him back there in 2007. But we did, and we got him off from his Prozac, and we got him into treatment, and he improved quite a bit over the next few years. And he's a painter, so he painted some beautiful paintings that all express different Bible verses and scripture and so on, and were very inspiring to people. And recently, his mom died. He had a big fire around his house. He had an increasing back pain, and he went back to the VA for some help, and they gave him tramadol, which is an opioid for the pain.
Oh, good.
Got him hooked on that, and then he felt he should go in for admission. Now, he never told me about that. He kept this from his family, but he went into the VA for pain management. And then on the 1st of April, just a little over a month ago, he went in to the VA and wanted to be admitted, telling them that he was suicidal, he's in horrible pain, and they just didn't even listen to him. And so he reported in a text to me that they didn't even listen to me, Dad. They just passed out poison. They're murdering our heroes, our men and women in service are murdering them.
What is Seroquel? What is Seroquel?
Seroquel is a psychotropic drug that's for major mental health problems such as schizophrenia and bipolar. And my son had neither one of those. He was just depressed. But they placed him on that, and he said it was after 5 minutes. He texted me and said, in 5 minutes, they gave me the Seroquel and sent me home. Didn't even listen to my story. And that's when he decided, I'm sure, that he was going to have to take his life and make a very powerful statement because, back up a little bit, in the past 4 years, we wrote a book together called Suicide Stalks the Sniper. And that was Mark's way of getting out to the public what he had gone through, how he had found relief, and the things that had happened to him. And so we went around South Texas meeting with different veteran groups, helping the veterans. And many of them heard his story, and they got off their psychotropic drugs, and they were doing so much better, and just putting this together. So this was something that he had as a mission. And so when he wasn't heard by the VA, I think he just felt desperate and felt this is the only way he could protest.
So, Larry, we've World War I think, is the first time, at least that I'm aware of it. I'm sure this has happened in every major war. But World War I was such an awful war, and the bloodshed was just overwhelming, that guys came home from World War I, and they just weren't the same. And then it got worse with World War II, but those guys just never talked about it. Then Korea, and then the Vietnam War was so bad, and we abandoned our veterans, and they didn't come back as heroes. And this problem seems to be getting worse and worse and worse. What's the answer?
Well, you're absolutely right. In World War I, they called it shell shock. Now they call it PTSD, and it's something that the military trains them to be good soldiers. In my son's case, he trained him to be an assassin, all right? But when he got out of the military, they gave him a 5-minute questionnaire to reorient him to civilian life. Now, how is that going to help him at all? The military just throws these veterans away, doesn't take good care of them. They use them, and they should take months or years to retrain them to be good citizens and how to operate in normal society again. And they don't do that. And then they have to go to the VA, and the problem with the VA is that the psychiatrists universally have succumbed to the big pharma's propaganda to give out pills instead of psychotherapy. Years ago, the psychiatrists used to do a good job of talking to the patient, talking to the soldier with PTSD and so on, and finding out what it was, and then helping them to design a plan to get a purpose in life and to help them with the future. Now, they just spend 5 minutes and pass out pills like candy. And these psychotropic drugs have been proven over and over again with meta-analysis that they do not work. They're no better than placebos. But they also have been proven that they increase suicide by at least 2.5% to 3%. So my question is, why do psychiatrists give out SSRIs to suicidal veterans that increase their chance of suicide? It's just something that's hard for me to understand.
You wrote a message to the military. You said halfway through, yes, you should be humiliated, not for what you made him do, but for not respecting him or valuing him as a human being, for not attempting to put him back together the way you found him, kind, loving, trusting, with a plan and purpose for his life. You need to train him, no matter how long it takes, not to jump when he hears a car backfire or panic when he finds the door at his home unlocked. Teach him that we're not the enemy and that he is safe to go to sleep at night.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And it's not only Mark. After I posted that on Facebook when I lost my son, the day I posted it, I got over 25,000 shares. And I got thousands of replies to me. I haven't even gotten through them all yet, but there's hundreds and hundreds of exactly the same story. My son was depressed. He went to the VA. They gave him these psychotropic drugs, and he committed suicide. My father, my husband, my brother. The story is over and over again. It's a of what Mark did. And it's so widely spread, it's been swept under the rug. We need to wake up to this fact of how egregiously horrible our veterans are being treated for mental health.
And it's not just that the VA is, just a horrible system. You also are saying SSRIs are horrible, poison.
Yes, they are. They're no better than placebos on the good side. On the bad side, they increase suicide. So why would they use them? Well, they've been brainwashed, and that's easy to do. Big Pharma has a number of ways that they can create studies that look good. But the meta-analysis done by independent researchers have shown that SSRIs are not beneficial to most people, but they do have a very high risk of many side effects, including suicide. So this is something we have to change, and it's all funded by the big pharma, who spends billions of dollars in a number of ways, and they influence legislation. They influence the FDA because they pay for 74% of the FDA's budget. That seems to me a conflict of interest.
Kind of.
They sponsor most of advertising on TV. Why should pharmaceutical companies advertise drugs on TV? Most countries are not allowed to do that. And they pay directly to psychiatrists to use their drugs. There are 8 psychiatrists last year that received over $1 million to promote their SSRIs. That should be a conflict of interest. That should be outlawed by Congress, in my opinion.
Larry, thank you for talking to me. I really appreciate it. Thank you for sharing your son Mark with me as well.
Thank you so much. I hope the message gets around to the people that can make a big difference for my son. And I appreciate your kindness.
Thank you.
You're a good man. Thank you so much for what you do.
You bet.
Make a change in the world.
Dr. Larry Miller, emergency medical physician, and the co-author with his son, Suicide Stalks the Sniper. If you are somebody that is suffering with suicidal tendencies or suicidal ideation,